Hello and welcome to another episode of Cooking with WIC. Today's WIC approved ingredients is beans, and specifically black beans. And I'm going to show you how to make my grandmother's black bean soup. This is a fantastically simple recipe. The only ingredients are black beans, an onion, celery, lemons, salt and pepper, a little mustard, and the recipe calls for cayenne. I'm substituting chili powder in this one. So the recipe calls for one small onion, one small to medium, so I'm using half of a large because that's what I happen to have. And we're gonna just, the onion and the celery, we're just gonna give it a rough chop. You don't have to cut them up small or anything because it's all going to be blended later. So that's fine. Celery. Bam. Okay, stop. So we're going to start with a sizable pat of butter. Throw in the veggies. I'm going to cook these veggies till they're soft. Okay, veggies are nice and soft, starting to brown up a little bit. I'm going to take my beans, pour them in. Then I go just do a little stir so that all the beans get coated with a little bit of the butter. That helps them cook evenly. And then I'm going to pour in water. Pretty much water to cover the beans plus a little bit. Now wait, I hear you all saying, you didn't soak the beans. Everybody says soak the beans overnight. I never soak the beans. I don't see why I should. They cook just as well this way. It may take a little bit longer, but not all that much, and I don't feel it's worth it. Alright, so I'm just going to add my seasonings. Pinch of salt, a little pepper, a little bit of ground mustard, and a little bit of chili powder. And we can adjust these later if we need the, if we feel there's not enough salt or we need a little more of this, we can always adjust it later. But I put some in now so that they can cook in. And now this is just going to sit and simmer. You want to keep it on like a simmer like this for probably 3 hours or so. So I'm going to go do something else during that time, but just remember you have to check in on it. Every 20 minutes, half an hour or so, come by, give it a stir, add more water if it needs it, and I'll see you later. Give it a stir. Add some water. Okay, so it's been a couple days since I started this video, but that's okay because if you run out of time, patience, or energy, just take the whole thing and throw it in the refrigerator. It'll be fine. A couple days, bring it back out, and keep going from where you left off. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to make a little roux. ROUX is a mixture of butter, melted. You can use any fat source, butter or oil is fine. Butter melted. And then we're going to mix in approximately an equal part of flour and let that cook for a minute. Okay, butter melted, in goes the flour, mix it all up. It's gonna get all chunky like this. That's okay. I'm gonna add a little more butter to this. It's a little too stiff. There. There's a perfect roux. I've got the heat off at the moment so it doesn't continue to cook. And I'm gonna set this aside to cool down a little. Now, if I had an immersion blender, this part would be a lot easier. Just stick it in there and go all that, but I don't, so I gotta do it the hard way. So we're just gonna scoop into the blender. Where's the top? Here's the top. And you want a nice smooth puree, and it's not there yet. We'll give it a little stir. See if we can get it to do what it's supposed to do. Put the finished stuff in a bowl. Definitely too thick. Now the finishing touches. It is a little too thick at the moment, so I'm just gonna rinse this out with a little water and just add it all to that. A little bit more. Okay. Good. Now I'm going to heat this back up, test it for seasonings, and add the lemon juice. Okay, so the soup is hot again, it's bubbling away. Now what I'm going to do is add the roux to it. You never want to add hot roux. You always want to let it cool down a bit. If you do, hot roux will sort of clump up and form roux balls, and it's kind of disgusting to get a ball of flour in your. What the roux does is it make it a richer, yummier soup, and it also thickens it a little bit, so we may need to thin it back down. You use a kitchen scraper to get it out, and then a whisk to mix it in. Okay, so somehow I managed to do the last couple steps of this soup without actually recording anything on the camera. So what I did was I added the juice of 2 lemons, and I adjusted the seasonings. I added a little more salt and a little more chili powder. Summers at Grandma's house, barefoot in the garden, feeding the chickens. This is so good. You gotta try making this.